This is the Thayer Podcast for Monday, May 8th, 2023. Somebody asked me to do a column on the politically charged description we call woke. Okay, it's a noun, a person who is aware or well-informed in a political or cultural sense. It's an intransitive verb. Woke up, as in sleep. Adjective, well-informed, up-to-date, alert to racial or social discrimination and injustice. The sentence woke, woke, woke means that person, the woke, awakened, woke up, both politically and culturally aware of racial and social injustice and discrimination. Woke. Woke, woke, woke. On his show, host Bill Maher and Elon Musk were talking on April 28th about woke.
So, this woke mind virus, how did it start? Was it bats? Was it escape from a lab? I mean, what is your assessment of what? Because it's fairly recent. How did it start and why?
I was trying to figure out where it's coming from. I think it's actually been a long time brewing, in that I think it's been going on for a while. The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. And I sort of came to realize this somewhat late. The experience that we had in high school and college is not the experience that kids today are having, and hasn't been for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 20 years. So.
Aren't parents themselves also a big part of the problem?
Well, I suppose in some cases that parents, but I think like the parents are just generally not aware of what their kids are being taught, or what they're not being taught.
But they're letting the kids think that they're equal.
I mean, yeah. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to college go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them, like, well, so who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the woke mind virus. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington.
CBS's Margaret Brennan and NBC's Chuck Todd asked guests to define woke on their February 12th television shows. Definition seekers have also wanted answers on February 16th. They pushed woke to the top of Merriam-Webster's most searched terms list. The dictionary's website, MW.com, defines woke as aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice. Many sources trace woke to black vernacular. In 1923, Jamaican political activist Marcus Garvey wrote, "Wake up, Ethiopia! Wake up, Africa!" to call the black dysphoria to social activism. The blues singer Huddie Ledbetter, a.k.a. Leadbelly, used the term in his 1938 song, Scottsboro Boys, as a warning to black people to stay wary of racism. Perhaps prophetically, William Melvin Kelly in 1962 highlighted woke in a New York Times essay about white people appropriating black slang terms and mangling their meanings. Woke seems to have lost its place as a black community signal. In February, University of California, Berkeley law professor Kiara M. Bridges, who is black, wrote, "Slang amongst black people is a love language. There's something really sinister about this term not only being taken from us, but also deployed against us. It's a double violation. Woke has gone beyond racial, social justice to apply to LGBTQ rights and feminist causes." In a political presentation earlier this year, ABC News wrote, the term, however, was originally coined by progressive black Americans and used in racial justice movements in the early to mid-1900s. To be woke politically in the black community means that someone is informed, educated, and conscious of social injustice and racial inequality. One of its earliest uses was in a historical recording of the protest song Scottsboro Boys by Leadbelly. In that recording, it was used as a term about staying aware of the potential for racist violence as a black person in America. The Ferguson, Missouri protests that year helped wake many people up to the social injustices of police brutality against the black community following the fatal police shooting of Michael Brown. Brown's death was shortly followed by the fatal police shootings of Eric Garner, Shamir Rice, and others, which continued the growing popularity of the phrase and its use in protest and activist circles for many years to come, according to research from Ohio State University on the rhetoric of the Black Lives Matter movement. The term has since been co-opted by some Republicans as a pejorative term. Midterm election cycles signify the identity-based social justice issues that some Democrats and progressives push for. Representatives from the Democratic Governors Association and Working Families Party told ABC News. Woke has been used by former President Donald Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and several Trump-backed midterm candidates, including Kari Lake and Mehmet Oz. Woke is defined by the DeSantis administration as the belief there are systematic injustices in American society and the need to address them, according to DeSantis' general counsel, as reported by the Washington Post. We reject woke ideology, DeSantis said in his election night speech. We will never, ever surrender to the woke agenda. People have come here because of our policies. The pressure against wokeness in Florida has already led to the apparent erasure of race-related content in education, including the rejection of an AP African American history course in state high schools, and vows from college presidents against including some race-related content that covers intersectionality, or the idea that symptoms of oppression should be the primary lens through which teaching and learning are analyzed and or improved upon. Identity has been at the heart of the so-called culture wars being seen across the country as Democrats and Republicans go head-to-head on issues such as LGBTQ+ rights, racial education in schools, and more. For example, DeSantis himself has implemented policies in schools that have been criticized for limiting discussion in curriculum on race, systematic oppression, gender, and sexual orientation, with the Parental Rights in Education law and the now blocked Stop Woke Act. He argues these laws give parents more say in what their kids learn in schools. What you see now with the rise of this woke ideology is an attempt to really delegitimize our history and to delegitimize our institutions. And I view the wokeness as a form of cultural Marxism, DeSantis said in December 2021 speech. They really want to tear the fabric of our society. Across the country, hundreds of similar conservative-led legislative efforts have targeted LGBTQ+ identities and race in education. Some conservatives have been critical of those using the phrase. Maurice Mitchell, the national director of the Working Families Party and the social movement strategist with Movement for Black Lives, calls conservative use of woke a dog whistle. Because woke is associated with black people, it's been a useful club for those who want to beat those seeking justice over the head with white grievance policies to win elections without deploying explicitly racist terms, Mitchell said. David Turner, the communications director of the Democratic Governors Association, said Republicans' use of the term can make them appear as bullies. Republicans, time and again, have overstepped where they think the average voter is and where most Americans are on mainstream issues, Turner said. This also applies to their hyper-focus on niche cultural war issues. So far, I'm not convinced about anything. We'll talk more about this issue next time. Meanwhile, improvise, adapt, overcome. Semper Fi.